And now let's bring in our correspondent, Natalie Carney in Munich. Natalie, how's the voting going on there in Munich? What do exit polls tell us now?
So far, so good. Polls have been open for about 3 hours now. We were at one of the polling stations earlier, and there was a slow trickle of people. It is a Sunday morning here, a beautiful Sunday morning. And there's still 7 hours left for the polls till closing, so we should expect those numbers to pick up some. Bavaria itself, just to speak a bit more about the region that I'm in, is about 15% of the German population, yet it does have a pretty good influence on what is to come of the next coalition government, and that is because of the ruling Christian Socialist Party, Union Party, that rules Bavaria. It has long been campaigning with the CDU, Angela Merkel's party. It's sort of like a branch of her party here in Bavaria. However, it has come head-to-head with her party, most recently over the refugee crisis back in 2015, and we're starting to see some quite clear divisions between the CDU and the CSU, which could influence the next coalition government, provided that the CDU and the CSU do come out on top from this election, which is what we are expecting. So far in Bavaria, the CSU is polling at around 47%. The SPD, which is the main opposition, is at 18%. And the AFD, which is this right-wing nationalist party that everyone's got their eyes on at the moment, the first time that a right-wing party could enter the Bundestag since World War II in Bavaria, they're polling around 9%. So, of course, we're going to get a clearer picture of how things go as the day progresses.
I see. Bring us the latest number when you have it, Natalie. The other thing that we want to talk about really is the reading and the efforts that the parties are making these days in the polls so far. They are trying to make their last-ditch efforts to win the hearts and minds of German. Chancellor Merkel is likely also to cast her vote in Bavaria. Could the CDU enjoy an easy win there? And will the last effort made by the leading parties really have an impact?
Yes, again, it is expected that the CDU will win nationwide, and here in Bavaria, the CSU will take the polls. But again, being that there is this sort of division being created, or that is apparent between the CDU and the CSU, is a particularly big reason why I think Angela Merkel chose to be in Bavaria for her last campaign speech, and where she is expected to cast her ballot. She obviously wants to sort of maintain relations with the largest party here in Bavaria, and also to appease some of these traditional voters down, CSU voters here. Bavaria is also the most conservative country, so we have a lot of socially conservative voters here. I've spoken to one gentleman who said that he just finds that the CDU is going too far left. So I think what we're also seeing from the CSU is sort of a compensation of that, trying to compensate those who feel that the ruling party of Germany is taking a little bit too far, is going a little too far left. So we could even see, a few more votes for the AFD here in Bavaria due to that. So it'll be very interesting to see what the turnout is. But particularly in Bavaria, we are seeing a little bit more desire for sort of like this social conservative policies in the country.
Our own correspondent, Natalie Carney in Munich. Thank you, Natalie. And we'll be back after this. Once 150 kilometers long, this wall divided the country for too long. Decades later, Germany has picked itself up. It has become a strong economy. It has also become a respected partner for many. But question marks too, the economy, the immigration, the rise of the far right, and the future of Germany in Europe and beyond. The German election on CGTN, bringing you the latest analysis and meeting the movers and shakers of the German society right here from Berlin. You're watching the German election, our special program coming to you from the center of Berlin, right in front of the Bundestag, the German parliament. For more analysis coming from China about how China really sees this election here in Germany. Let's bring in Mr. Cui Hongjian, Director of the European Studies at the China Institute of International Studies. And Mr. Cui, welcome to our program. Angela Merkel likely to win a fourth term, but from Beijing, what is China looking at very closely about this election?
Yes, also, I think that as Chinese observers, we do have maybe two bigger concerns about this Bundestag election happening in Germany now. I think firstly, we need to know how about this political stability situation in Germany, especially after Germany was regarded as the last guardian of the Western world, and also maybe a very, very decisive factor for this European Union, European integration. And secondly, I think that another very big concern from China is how about this policy continuity. Of course, I think it will be decided by the form of coalition of the government. For example, once there will be another grand coalition for the government, certainly there will be maybe a large continuity of a policy of a German government. But at the same time, once there are some other choice for this coalition, I think that there will be some more time for China to be familiar with any kind of a new government in Germany.
I see, but it's very likely, Mr. Cui, according to the latest polls, if you are reading them, that the AfD doing quite well, probably even is likely to occupy a few dozen seats in the parliament. Of course, that's the far-right party. What does China make of these nuance that is going on with the German election? And will that impact, do you think, the relations between China and Germany as a result of it?
Yes, I think we do need to have a very close concern about this situation of AfD or any other, far-right party in Germany. Also, once there are some more, impact on the far-right wing party in the parliament, undoubtedly it will give some negative impact on the German policy to other countries, including China, especially also, maybe more protectionism or maybe exclusive, a policy like that. So I think it would be a very, very big concern from China.
Of course, Angela Merkel, the current chancellor, has said very clearly that she is not going to work with the far-right parties, but that far-right party, if into the parliament, certainly is likely to give their voices heard, and that's going to have an impact on bilateral relations, possibly. Having said that, though, Mr. Cui, what about exactly the future of China-German relations? We see Germany playing a bigger role, and this election is going to show in a way whether people in Germany are proving Chancellor Merkel's job, including its international policy. What do you think about Chancellor Merkel's policy so far regarding China? Will that continue once she got another fourth term?
Yeah, also in the past decade, I would like to say that China and Germany have very, very good relations, especially in the principle of pragmatic cooperation. I hope that once a new government and led by Chancellor Merkel, this good relations, or especially a very, very practical policy from Germany, will keep going on. But now, of course, as I know that there are some problems, especially from the German side, especially when Chancellor Merkel and Germany regarded itself as maybe a biggest economy in European Union and also last guardian for so-called Western value. I'm afraid that there will be some difficult time or difficult issues, especially from German side, on the table with China. So I hope that no matter which kind of form of government will be, that the German government and the Chancellor Merkel will insist a principle of a more pragmatic cooperation with China. Don't touch so much about some other issues, especially which perhaps will give some negative impact on bilateral relations.
Chancellor Merkel has been well known for her pragmatism in terms of foreign policy. However, we also see whether that's going likely to continue as a result of the election, because the voters is going to give, in a way, a consensus to her as to whether her previous policy was actually approved by the German electorate. So what do you make of that, Mr. Cui, that in the future, will Germany play a bigger role or a smaller role or relatively similar to what it is today? Mr. Cui.
Also, regarding to this international affairs, so far, I don't think already in German society there is a kind of a consensus to play a more active role in international affairs. Because we know, because of the history so far, still there are very, very strong, culture of anti-intervention, or to look for some more, internal affairs rather than external affairs. But of course, I think it would be very natural for Germany to play a more active role in regional and global affairs. So I think that for Chancellor Merkel and her government, it will try to, interpret any kind of active role of Germany international affairs to be part of interests of Germany. So I think it will be a big test for Chancellor Merkel and her government how to convince German people that every kind of maybe expanding activities by German government would be in the interests of German people.